be studying sociological perspective, sociological theory, all other papers of sociology. The knowledge of this particular class will be always required, and it will help you to understand everything that you are going to study in the due course of time. So that's why this particular class is very important, class. It's a very introductory class, but you have to be very clear about this particular class. So I thought that I should go a little bit in depth into this particular class. I prepared a short kind of a PPT also, so that you can develop a more in-depth understanding into it. So all this we'll be doing now in this coming almost 1 hour time. You don't have any class after this, so it will be more easier to stick to our means if we can if we even exceed our time, that won't be that problematic, isn't it? But I'll still try my best to be on time. But the problem is now they're trying to fix some technical glitch that is there. So the moment they give me green signal, then we can start with this. Okay. So emergence of sociology, what we have discussed, you have already some idea about it. I'm expecting more queries to come because we have already introduced this particular topic. So I'm expecting that more questions may come on this. More interesting point of view can be shared here, which because once you are in Facebook Live, the world will be seeing you, isn't it? You guys can also share this particular class and to your friends and everybody. So, more inputs will be coming, and there will be in the comment section more discussion will be happening. So this is what we intended to achieve through this particular endeavor of having many Facebook live sessions like this, so that we can interact with wider audience, and at the same time more interesting academic discussion can take place. That's the motto behind that. Anyway, let us see. I don't know if they are having some internet problem. So please be there, okay? Just be a little bit, keep your patience for some time. As long as this thing is done, immediately we'll start. Okay, it seems that they have they will just record this entire deliberation, and then they will put it in the Facebook Live, because they're having some sort of problem. Anyway, I think we can start now, if it is okay. So yes, let me just give you a little bit of a brief background of this particular topic that I'm going to discuss. Today we are going to discuss about the emergence of sociology as a subject, the social forces that is responsible for the emergence of this particular subject. As you all know, sociology was not always there in the time, from the time immemorial. Some social incident occurred, because of which there was the need that was felt that a subject like sociology was required. Uh, Actually, every academic discipline is a creation of its social setting. Actually, is the impact of the social, the happening that is occurred in the social setting, and we can see the traces of the social setting in the social setting, academic discipline. But far more for sociology, where the incident that occur in the social are at the responsible for also the subject matter of the subject sociology. So all these incidents are the subject matter of sociology, because these incidents brought changes in the society, and the changes are the one of which sociology as a subject studied. So in today's class, we'll be discussing about all the different social forces that lead to the emergence of the subject sociology and sociological writings, actually. So I'll just share a PPT with you, through the entire PPT will try to understand how sociology came into existence, what are the social forces that lead to the emergence of this particular subject. So let us start from the beginning. Yeah. Yes. So this is the title of the presentation, that is Social Forces in the Development of Sociology as a Subject. Um, this is myself. You are already introduced to me. And now let us try to understand what are the major social forces that lead to the emergence of sociology. So when we look into all these social forces together, all these social factors lead to the emergence of this particular subject, sociology. We'll be delving in detail with all these forces individually. Like first, it is diverse political revolution that took place in the world, because of which society experienced drastic change, and those change sociology attempted to understand. When we talk about political revolution, the most important political revolution which shocked the entire world was French Revolution mainly. So here we'll try to understand how French Revolution completely changed the way world was functioning, or the society was functioning. We'll try to understand that in detail. Followed by Industrial Revolution, which also brought diverse changes in the society, in the different layers of the society, in the different institutions of the society. Again, we'll go in detail to understand that. Then the rise of socialism was another most important factor, which has also brought diverse changes in the society. And sociology was the early sociological writings was focused on this particular aspect too. Followed by this is feminism, which also arose more or less during that particular time of 18th and 19th century. And this also has completely changed the way gender relation or gender equation used to work in the society. So this has also changed the ways society used to be. Hence, sociology also attempted to cover this aspect also. Then the next is urbanization. Urbanization, which is also an aftermath of industrial revolution. Urbanization was always there before that too, but after the industrial revolution, urbanization took a massive speed. Actually, the way urbanization went on after that. So because of which there were many changes that was there in the society, both positive and negative. And sociologists, the early writings of sociologists was mostly focused on that. And all these factors like political revolution, industrial revolution, urbanization, all these also brought changes in religion. Religion, which was portrayed as very static, rigid. Because of all these diverse changes, even in religion also we have encountered diverse changes. Because of these changes, again, the impact of it can be seen in the society, which the sociologists attempted to cover in their writings at the same time. And together with all those, the very important factor that lead to the emergence of sociology was the growth of science. Science was emerging as a very important development, which completely shocked our earlier knowledge which completely transformed our knowledge. Many of our existing knowledge was completely changed, because of which society was no longer the same as it used to be. Scientific development, as the theory of gravity, or the knowledge that uh, earth revolve around the not earth revolve around the sun, rather sun is static, and earth is revolving around the sun, rather. Yeah, so all these new invention and discoveries has completely shaken the world, um, because of which society was no longer the same place. And hence sociology tried to capture these new changed world through all their writings. So these are the major developments that lead to the emergence of sociology and sociological writings. We'll try to understand all these major developments individually. Let us start with political revolution, and with particular reference to French Revolution. Why I'm saying French Revolution? Because French Revolution is often termed as mother of all revolution, because it has inspired many other political revolution in different parts of the world. So French Revolution is often discussed in the history books and all as a very noteworthy moment of history, because of the kind of change it has brought. It has completely overthrown a system, and a new system was in place. But in the sociological writings, or sociologists initially, because of French Revolution, they were more concerned rather than happy with the development that was happening out of French Revolution. They were more concerned about the chaos and the disorder that was there. The chaos and the disorder that was there, they were more concerned with that because of French Revolution, there was so much of disorder, there was so much of uncertainty that was there in the society. Sociologists were more concerned about that. A very considerable amount of sociologists were of the view that we should rather go back to the earlier Middle Ages, where things were far more ordered and far more peaceful, because French Revolution has brought so much of violence and disorder in the society, that the sociologists, many of the sociologists were not happy with this new development. But more sophisticated sociologists understood that because of the social change that occurred post French Revolution, it was almost impossible to go back to the Middle Ages. So we have to find new bases of order now. So we have to adapt. This is the only way out, to adapt with the new system. So after abolishing this feudalistic society, then French Revolution has started sowing the seeds of democracy, from where the democracy that we are experiencing now came into existence actually. So French Revolution was a very important historical movement, historical event, that actually inspired many of the early sociological writings. Because on the one hand, a group of sociologists were against it. On the another hand, a group of sociologists were there who were in favor, not exactly in favor, but were in favor of adapting with this new development, and finding out a new kind of a new balance in the society. A branch of sociologists were there who were in favor of that ideology. So in this way, political revolution in the guise of French Revolution has inspired many much of the sociological writings in the very beginning. Followed by this is industrial revolution. I generally used to tell this in the class, that industrial revolution is one of the most important factors that lead to a change in the society, because the impact of industrial revolution was diverse. It's not just one aspect of the society that is affected by revolution. It's far diverse, the impact, and we'll try to understand some of the major impacts of industrial revolution on society. So these are some of the most important impact of industrial revolution. First of all, we have to understand that before industrial revolution, we were mostly dependent on agriculture for our economy. So entire population was dependent on agriculture. And as there was, population was growing to a rapid extent, there was too much of burden on agriculture to feed so many stomachs. Hence, there was a need for an alternative. And industrial revolution gave us that particular alternative. because of which there was sudden massive migration that was happening from rural areas to these industrial, newly developed industrial area. So one of the massive impact of industrialization was a massive migration. Now, once there was a massive migration, then people from diverse backgrounds started settling down in and around this new industry. So this lead to the urbanization. The process of urbanization started in those area where massive settlement started to grow in and around this new industrial area. So slowly, cities started to evolve in this area. Industrialization also gave new occupation to the people, from where new kind of jobs came into existence, which people were not engaging in earlier. New kind of specialization came into existence. So these new occupations also gave birth to new kind of training programs in the educational sector. So we can see new programs coming up in the colleges and universities, and after clearing those these new occupations can be taken care of. So this is another new development that was happening. Because of industrialization, new occupations or new jobs were coming up with new kind of specialization, and this has given birth to new kind of programs that was taught in the in school, colleges and universities. And now colleges and university, we can see new programs. They are no longer that redundant and the very traditional kind of programs that was going on, and we can still see programs like social work and MBA and hospital management, and all these programs are very industrial based programs, because industry demanded this kind of program, this kind of skills actually there. So this is another impact of industrial revolution. Another very important impact of industrial revolution because of massive migration was a new family structure that came into existence. Family structure which was more joint or extended family. Now, because of this massive migration and this new settlement pattern, families are now reduced to nuclear families, because the cost of production in this new urbanized area is very high. Hence, initially only the earning member, together with their wife and their unmarried children, they shifted, and from there the concept of nuclear family came into existence. Earlier in agricultural society, where bigger family was as kind of a strength, because bigger family means bigger workforce. But now in this new industrial urbanized area, smaller family is rather more more a strength, because you have lesser stomach to feed, because the cost of life is very high in this new society. Another, as I've already told, because of massive migration, there was people coming from diverse background were assembling and settling down in this new society. Hence, a cosmopolitan kind of a society was developing. Earlier, before industrial revolution, most of the village societies were very homogeneous. So people from the same cultural background are coexisting. But now, because of industrial revolution, a cosmopolitan kind of a society was emerging now. People from diverse background are coming and coexisting, and they are developing an interdependence among themselves. Another very important gift of industrial revolution was that of free market and private property. Before that, also the concept of private property was there, but if you look at the feudal stratification, structure of stratification of the feudal society, every sections or every stratified groups have the roles of the groups are clearly spelled out. Like the king, what the king will be doing and the clergies will be doing. Next is say the lords, next is knights, and then peasants and the serfs. So who can own what is clearly spelled out in a feudal society. So the most of the land belongs to the lords, feudal lords. They used to own the most of the land, and then they used to give some to the knights as a gift. So knights used to have a small share of land, a considerable share of land, and then followed by them was the peasants, who used to have a very small share of land, where they used to plow, or they used to do their agriculture in that particular piece of land, and also pay rent to the lords. The serfs, on the contrary, don't have any land, and they are just working for the lords. So in this way, in the stratification structure itself is clear that who can own how much. It is spelled out clearly. But in this society, in industrial society, anybody can own anything. That kind of liberty is given. So we have heard many success stories of people like Dhirubhai Ambani, who was nobody, and now you can see Reliance, how big it is one of the richest person in the world. Is the owner of this particular company. So in this way, anybody can become can own anything. That's the liberty that this particular revolution has brought. So it has brought free market, so anybody can start any startup and take it to any level, and private property, so anybody can own anything and any amount of money. There is no restriction that is there in this new society. Another very important development because of industrial revolution, the needs of the industrial revolution demanded a very structured kind of management, a very structured kind of organization, and bureaucracy came up as an answer to this requirement. So bureaucracy was accepted widely throughout in this industrial because after this industrial revolution, throughout we can see bureaucracy everywhere. The system of bureaucracy is accepted because it addresses the need that was there attached with industrial revolution. And another important point that generally in most of the textbooks or in books you may not find, but which is also a very important aftermath of industrial revolution, was that of colonialization. Because we have to understand that industrial revolution started in Great Britain initially. And one of the most important prerequisite of industrial revolution was, first was raw material, and second was market. Raw material to produce the finished good, and market where these goods can be sold, so that they can earn profit, and with that profit they can produce more. And in this way, the accumulation of profit can go on. Now, these two requirements actually asks for one particular thing that was or it is possible to meet both these requirements by this one process called colonialization. Because England before that was not a huge country, it was a small country comparatively. The size of the population was also very, very limited. Hence, industrialization cannot grow in that particular geography, in that kind of demographic structure. Hence, colonialization was an answer to both these needs. So once they started making colonies, then the raw materials, the natural resources that was there in those areas where their raw material, and the population, they can sell their product to that population. So in this way, they went on to expanding their territory through colonialization, and the industries or industrial revolution also succeeded more in Great Britain. And the particular method was followed by the different other countries of Europe post England. So in this way, we can see that industrial revolution, the impact of industrial revolution was massive in the society because of all these reasons, and hence it attracted the early sociologists to try to capture the impact of all these things on the society, how society is affected by that. So hence industrial revolution is one of the most important source through which sociology as a subject emerged, because of which sociology as a subject emerged to address all this new development that industrial revolution has brought. Okay, then let's go to the next. Another very important source of change in the society, almost in the similar time, was the rise of socialism. Once capitalism was growing in different parts of the world, once because of industrial revolution, there was also a movement against capitalism. There was also many academic movement, and at the same time physical movement that was there against capitalism, against the exploitation that was there by few capitalists over the majority of the workers that was going on. There was a lot of criticism of this particular system was there, and from there much of movement was going on. And in the intellectual arena, Karl Marx was leading this particular movement, and he came up with a solution, or rather with a way forward, and he gave the concept of socialism. Socialism is a kind of a society which will be classless, where nobody will own anything. So everything, all the property will be state's property, and everybody will be contributing according to their credibility and the possibility that they have to contribute, and accordingly they will be given by the states. So ultimately there won't be a private property in socialistic states. So this was a very utopian kind of idea that Karl Marx came up with. But many writers like Weber, Durkheim, and many more were also very skeptical about socialism at the same time. So capitalism gave birth to criticism, and all these writers were criticizing capitalism, but they had a different way of addressing this criticism. People like Weber and Durkheim, or sociologists like Weber and Durkheim, are more in favor of reforming capitalism rather than going for socialism. So their idea was different. Marx and his fellow supporters were of the view that this entire system should be overthrown and a new system should be created. On the contrary, there were also a group of sociologists who were majority at that point of time, who were of the view that socialism is even worse than capitalism, and hence we should rather work so that we can bring reform in capitalism and bring changes in the capitalism. Whatever is the problem that is there, we can address those problems, keeping the system intact. So there were clearly two group of sociologists that came up because of the idea of socialism actually. So again, socialism also gave birth to wide range of writings in sociology, a wide range of sociological contributions because of this idea of socialism again. So which attempted to bring lots of change in the society, and those changes were addressed in all these writings. Okay, after that, there is another very important development that was going on in the world, was that of feminism. Feminism, which was always there, but it was more pronounced during this particular period, where now many questions were asked about the way women are exploited. Now, particularly after French Revolution, even women started questioning this entire system, where they are not even given basic human rights. So in the first wave of feminism that we often call, basic human rights for women were asked, like right to vote, like right to property. These were not given earlier. These rights were women were not even getting these rights, even in European countries, which boost so much of their civilization. But it's not far back when these basic rights were not given to women. Hence, these rights were now asked, and slowly some of the nations started giving these rights to women, and with that, there was a massive change in the society. Now, women are no longer restricted within household chores, isn't it? So women are no longer restricted within household chores. They are now going outside the house. Now they are owning property. Now they have the right to vote. Once they have right to vote, it means that now policy makers can no longer ignore women, because they are 50% of the voters now. So now policies started to be framed for women. Specific policies were there for women, because now policymakers know that, now these leaders know that 50% of our vote is coming from that direction. Hence, society is no longer the same because of that. Women started entering into male profession now. They are coming out of house and entering into male profession, particularly after industrial revolution. And they are also slowly starting getting education to take those positions in the industries. So slowly women started entering into male territory, and this has completely changed the way the world used to be. Slowly women also started, after getting education, they also started writing. So in academics also they started entering, and their voices are now recorded in academic writings now. So the society as a whole is no longer the place as it used to be. Now it's a completely different territory. So where women are getting far more bigger space now to speak, to raise their voice, to tell their stories at the same time. So hence it also attracted many sociologists to capture all these things, particularly women writers, to come up and contribute their side of the story. Hence, feminism is also one of the most important source which brought changes in the society, and these changes were highlighted through all these sociological writings. And this is also one of the reasons why sociological writings became far more pronouncedly visible. Followed by this was urbanization, which, as I have told earlier also, which is a gift of industrialization. Because of industrialization, there was massive migration, and this migration lead to the development of urban cities in and around these industrial areas. So because of urbanization, there were many changes that was occurring. Like there were positive changes, like there were more jobs, there was the cosmopolitan coexistence that was there, religious tolerance was there, new institutions came into existence, like hospitals, like police, like now even today we can see that new institutions are coming up because of this urbanization process, like the concept of, say, babysitting is completely new thing that is coming up. Earlier all these things were the responsibility of the family. Now, because both most of the time both the father and the mother, both the parents are working, hence all these new institutions came into existence. So these are the positive development of urbanization. But together with this positive development, there were also some negatives that was there. Some negative developments were also occurring, like there was pollution, there was health problems, there was crime, there was mental health issues, there was overcrowding. Sociologists were more interested in all these negative things, that how society was a chaotic kind of place that is created, what will be the impact of it, how it is going to affect the society, and what will be the impact of it in the due course of time. They were more interested to capture this through their writings. Hence we can see most of the early traditional, or rather classical sociologists, are more interested to capture the urban society, the problems of the urban society. Hence urbanization is also one of the most important you can say source of sociological writings. So it is one of the most important reason for the emergence of this particular subject called sociology. Followed by this is religion, which is also a very important source of change in the society, because religion was always perceived as a very static, rigid kind of an institution. But we have to understand that during this particular time, many developments were going on. There was industrial revolution, there was urbanization, there was colonialization. All these things were happening. There was scientific discoveries and invention which was happening. Because of all this development, even religion experienced many change. There were so many reforms that was going on in religion as an institution. Like in Christianity, we can see Protestantism that developed. In Hinduism also, many reform in the guise of, say, Ramakrishna movement or Arya Samaj movement. In this way, many movements were going on. Reform movements started. Even in Islam also, reform movement started by Sir Said and all these, religious leaders. They came up with many, reform movements within religion. Because of all this development, particularly with the arrival of colonialization, this traditional animistic religion faced a completely new change. With the arrival of more organized religion like Christianity and Islam, mainly Christianity, that has overthrown many of the animistic beliefs, and a more organized kind of religion was imposed to them. That has brought diverse change in their life because of the arrival of this organized religion. Similarly, industrial revolution, urbanization also brought diverse change in the way religion used to be practiced. Today we can see that religion is very different from the way religion used to be 70, 80 years back. Discoveries and invention was also very important source of change in religion, because many of our religious beliefs are now proved wrong by scientific discoveries and inventions. Hence we were getting rid of those kind of perceptions and beliefs, because scientific discoveries and inventions are proving it wrong. So we are getting rid of those kind of beliefs. Hence all these together are bringing massive change in religion as an institution. And once religion as an institution is experiencing change, it is having impact on the society as a whole, which is also bringing change in society. And this changed society, the sociologists are interested to study that. This changed society because of the changed religion, because of the contribution of Weber's Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. We can see how this reformed Protestant religion is bringing other changes in the society, like encouraging capitalism. So this is how all these changes are attracting sociologists to cover these developments. And the other disciplines are also looking at a specialized kind of discipline to kind of comprehend this development, what is going on in the society. The last very important contribution or very important source of this change in the society was the growth of science. Now, growth of science has brought many changes in the way we used to perceive this world. But here we are discussing science from a different perspective, because earlier, in the beginning, most of the early sociologists were of the view that in order to develop sociology as a discipline, we have to somehow model sociology after some successful sciences like physics or mathematics. So these sciences have already developed into a successful science. So initially, the earlier the classical writers were of the view that we can replicate the methodology that was used by the successful science to understand society also, so that we can also use the same methodology to understand society. But with the passage of time, other sociologists also came up with some distinctive distinctive characteristics of sociology, that sociology can be understood or can be practiced using its own distinctive characteristics, because sociology is not alike like physics or chemistry, because in physics and chemistry they're dealing with matter which is very static and stable, but here we're dealing with human beings which is very dynamic, which is very fluctuating. So human beings are always changing their behavior, so it's very difficult to use you know pure science methodology to understand human beings, because pure science are dealing with matter which are stable and which characteristic remain the same no matter where it is. But in case of human beings, they are not stable. The way one person behaves today, tomorrow the person may behave completely differently. Hence, we need a very distinctive methodology to appreciate or to understand sociology or to comprehend a society of human beings. That's why there was diverse point of view that how sociology should be studied. One group of early sociologists were of the view that we can replicate the methodology of pure science. Another group of sociology was there who were of the belief that we should develop our own methodology so that it can cater to the needs of the subject, basically sociology, and the subject matter, that is human being. So these are the major developments that actually lead to the emergence of sociology. So when we say social forces in the development of sociology, social forces responsible in the development of sociology, these are the forces that lead to the development of sociology, and we have discussed in detail. One thing that we have to understand here is the timing of all these development. If you look at the timings of all this development, if you see French Revolution took place somewhere around 1789, Industrial Revolution around 1760, Socialism around 1789, Feminism around 1840, urbanization, it started way back, but the rapid urbanization after industrialization only it started around 1800. And then religious changes also started somewhere around late 19th century. Growth of science, 18th to 20th century, all these developments were going on. So we can see that during this late 18th to 20th century, all this development was together going on. So imagine the impact of all this massive development that was happening in the society. It was huge. It was not just one thing that was happening. All these things were happening simultaneously. That's why society was a very different place. Society was complete chaos. And in order to understand this changed society, the existing intellectual felt that A new discipline is required. A new branch of trained intellectuals are required, who can understand these new developments, who can predict that what will be the future if these developments are going on, who can comprehend why this is happening and how this is happening and what will be the impact of it. From there, the subject called sociology came into existence, and the writings of sociology developed because of all this development occurring almost in the similar time. So this is in a nutshell about this. Is a very I can take another 2 or 3 classes on this. I just tried to put everything in these few slides. So there may be so many questions that will be popping up in your mind. I'll be more than happy to answer those. So this is in a nutshell about how sociology came into existence, or rather, what are the social forces that lead to the development of sociology. So this is my contact details. If anybody wants to contact me after this particular class, they're free to do that. They can call me, they can send me mail, and I'll be more than happy to address your queries. You can also uh, uh, write down your queries here in the chat box, and I'll be more than happy to address those at the same time. Yeah. So anybody who is having queries can write it down in the chat box, and I can get to that. Thank you very much. I hope I was audible throughout, and I could reach out to you. I could connect to you. Okay, if you're having any queries, you can please type it in your chat box so that I can see that. If your internet is working, I hope I can see that. Okay, Kabir, I think either I was so good that there is no question, or I could not reach out to anybody. They haven't understood anything. There are two possibilities. I hope the first one is the one, because there is no question that is popping up. So that's it from my side. I've just covered this thing. I was expecting that we'll be having a interaction, so I've kept around 10-15 minutes for that. But as I've told you, there are two possibilities. Either I was too good and you have understood everything, or you have understood nothing. So in both the cases, there is no chance of any questions popping up, isn't it? I don't know what is the. Okay, okay. Now it's coming up. I hope it's because of the internet thing. Sir, can you please repeat the urbanization process? Of course, I'll do that, sir. Like you said, socialism and about private property. So, sir, is socialism like similar to communism? Yes. So, socialism is what communism is. Communism is communal property, isn't it? That's what socialism asked for. That the entire property will be owned by the community. Community here means all the population that will be there. So that's what socialism asked for. As far as urbanization is concerned, urbanization is another source that brought change in the society. Because of urbanization, as we said, that there were many positive changes of urbanization that was happening. Generally we tend to focus on the positive changes, like there was, I know, cosmopolitan society was developing, jobs were given, isn't it? There was, all positive things that was happening, but sociologists were more interested on the negative things that was happening, negative development that was happening in the urban world. Like, because of, so much of migration, there was crime that was developing in that area. There was, pollution that was there. There was overcrowd. Because of overcrowd, there was so much of, order problem, that was a disorder problem was there. There was, and that's from where the need of police came, for which, so that order can be maintained. In rural areas, there was no need of police, because things were very settled down. Population was very scarce, so things were very easy. But in this new, society, there was so much of disorder that was there, so much of chaos that was there, and hence sociologists were more interested in this society because of its negative sides of the, urbanization. So their focus was more on, urbanization. Okay, next, is, sir, I want to ask how French Revolution helped in the growth of sociology. Yeah, see, when I say, French Revolution, as, I've, highlighted that French Revolution has brought massive change, okay, in the society. From feudalistic structure, we proceeded towards what we can see now as, democracy. French Revolution is the inception of that, change. Actually, from there, which, this change started. But because of French Revolution, there were a massive change that was occurring in the society, isn't it? Now the society was no longer the same. You have to understand the entire social structure has changed. So hence, among the, early sociologists, there was two groups who were there. One who believed that there is too much of chaos that this thing has brought. So, this is a completely wrong idea. The people who have, initiated this entire revolution. So we should rather go back to the very orderly system that used to